South African Medical Association in the Eastern Cape says government and traditional leaders must consider a joint provincial stewardship approach to prevent the deaths of initiates in that province. It's also calling for a dedicated circumcision directorate. At least 25 initiates are reported to have died so far in the Eastern Cape during the 2019 summer initiation period. For more on this, let's bring into the conversation the Medical Association spokesperson Mzulungile Notigita, who's joining us from the Eastern Cape, I believe, via Skype tonight. Mr. Notigita, very good evening to you, and thank you for being with us. So why do you believe that what you are proposing is possibly the best way to deal with this crisis?
Tembagile, and good evening to your viewers at home. Firstly, I think the most important thing is to send condolences on behalf of the Medical Association to the families of the 25 initiates. We think that the problem with the initiates is that the efforts that have been there in the past, in our view, we think that they were not well coordinated, they were a little bit disjointed. So our view is that government and traditional leaders, together with communities and ourselves, can come together and plan so that for something that is not going to be a seasonal thing. We know that the schools are in June and in December, but we need a sustainable solution with someone who can be responsible throughout.
And let me ask you this then, Mr. Notigita, what work would be done out of season? Because yes, we know a lot of these young men go into the rite of passage or go into the schools around June, and then you have the second batch going in December. So what work do you think would have to be done in the months in between to make sure that come the seasons we don't see all these fatalities?
So firstly, our view, we think that there has to be some sort of campaigns, because boys know a year before they can go. They actually know the date when they are going. So throughout the year, they know. And so we also think that the directorate can also have what we call a register, which would be a provincial register, where the traditional leaders themselves, they would have a version of this register where people register all the boys that are going to go into this process. Now, it would be the responsibility of the directorate to make sure that no other boy that is not on the register is going on that season. Now, as we speak now in the province, there's not one department or one person who is responsible and is accountable for this. So our view is that if the government and traditional leaders, by government we're talking health, we're talking COPTA, but we believe that this directorate must report straightly, must report directly to the office of the Premier of the Eastern Cape. Because our view is that if that is the path that we're taking, we will have this person reporting to the highest office of the province and accounting for each and every death. As a short to long term, as a short to medium term plan, we think it should be to reduce the death. But long-term plan is that this directorate should lead the research into this and create new knowledge on the new ways in which this can be done without necessarily compromising the culture that is associated with it.
And I want to ask you about that very last point that you're making, which is how would you sell what you are proposing to traditional leaders who already feel that there is enough medical and government involvement in what was traditionally a traditional and sacred rite of passage?
So, Tembagile, I'm sure that the traditional leaders would agree with me that there is a problem. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that we're not doing this thing without traditional leaders. The first people to engage are themselves, the traditional leaders, to say, even some of our members, and some, myself included, because I've gone through the ritual. So we have an understanding of the sacredness of the ritual. We have an understanding even of the complications of the boys that we see who are coming from those schools into the hospital. So we have an understanding that campaigns that prevent these things from happening and early intervention during the season can prevent and reduce the death significantly.
All right. South African Medical Association spokesperson Mzulungile Nodigita speaking to us from the Eastern Cape tonight. Thank you so much for your time. Well.